I think what people get confused is, they're grinding with a goal. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals, but you should be grinding for grinding's sake. You should grind because that's what you do. You're passionate about what you do, and so you're waking up every day with this concept of, I have 24 hours and they're mine. This 24 hours belongs to me.
Right.
And whatever I do in this 24 hours will determine where I'll be tomorrow and the next day. And I think that's what people need to focus on. Like, get off of this. I want to make 6 figures. I want to drive this car. I want to live in this house. I think what people should be focusing on is, I have 24 hours. Like, Oprah only has 24.
Yeah.
Bill Gates only has 24. Like, Warren Buffett only has 24 hours. And in that 24-hour period, I can either break my life or make my life. And I think, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have goals. I just think that goals for people is too high on the priority list. And I think what should be on the priority list is going to bed so you can wake up the next day and you can grind it out. And I'm just a dude that believes you reap what you sow. So if you're grinding on Monday, grinding on Tuesday, grinding on Wednesday, if you're grinding 6-7 days a week for a span of 5 or 6 years, something's got to come out of that.
Sure.
And I think if we would spend more time on what's my goal, and meaning what do I need to accomplish in this day to live this lifestyle, and you go after it, then I think more people will be successful. Now here's the challenge. A lot of people ask me what time I wake up in the morning. And I think that so many young people, just because they've never been exposed to greatness, they're asking a good question. The great question should be, what time do you go to bed at night? That's the question you should be asking. The question is, what time do you go to sleep? And so every night I try to go to bed, like literally in the bed, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I do that routinely. Now I tell people, of course I travel the world. So of course I'm not going to bed every day at 9:30. But here's the deal. When I can, what happens is I create this habit that my body believes that, all right, 9:30, all right, you wake up at 3, which means I'm getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep, which is pretty good, right? But here's the trick. When I came to California, my body still woke up at 3 something because it's accustomed to going to bed at a certain time. My body doesn't really know what time it is. Like, my body's it's not knowledgeable of time zones, right? My body just knows that this is the time we normally wake up. So I go to bed consistently early. I wake up early. Now, this is why I wake up. Now, if you're listening to me, you're an entrepreneur, you have to hear this. There are people who graduated magna cum laude. I didn't. There are people who were born into wealth. There are people who were born into a certain network. I wasn't. But here's the trick. Even though I don't have what they have, I can outwork you. So if I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and as sweet as you are, networks, parents, wealth, opportunities, and you're getting up at 8, I've got a 5-hour jump start on you. Like, I don't care who you are. If we're traveling to the same city and I take off 5 hours before you, 9 out of 10, I'm going to get there before you get there. Right. So my trick is I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I didn't know who my biological father was. It took me 12 years to get a degree. So I wake up earlier because that guy who is deeper than I am, who has more advantages or opportunities than I have, when we get our contract to that same company, when my contract gets to that guy, that CEO reads my contract at 3:30 in the morning. He's like, this dude is serious.
Wow.
So I know this guy graduated magna cum laude, but he sent me his contract at 9. Eric sent his at 3:30. Like, you got to give me a shot. You got to give me at least an interview, right? For the 3:30 thing, you got to give me an interview. So what I'm trying to explain to people is my ritual is I'm going to beat you to the spot. And more importantly, the discipline to wait. And so for a lot of us, we get broke in that waiting process, and I found that a lot of companies that initially told me no, and I said no, I can't do it for that price, I can't do it under these circumstances. That 3 years later, when my videos kept going up, the numbers kept going up. Now they're like, Eric, we want to work with you, and they're willing to pay me what I feel my product is valued at. Sure. And why? Because I waited. I didn't say yes to everything. I didn't bite at the first opportunity. I wasn't desperate. I knew my stuff. I knew I had put in the time. I knew I had made the investment. And so now I'm considered one of the top motivational speakers in the world, one of the top coaches in the world. Why? Because, man, I got the knowledge first. I've been in this thing over 20 years. I've built a strong infrastructure, and I've had the discipline it takes to say no to some things, say yes to some things, and more importantly, I've been able to wait